Yikes. Okay. I look more like my dad these days than my mom, which is interesting. I dyed my hair blonde and I'm paler than I've ever been in my entire life. I look peaked. I'm going to blame living through COVID. Oh, my hair. And just isolation. I don't see the sun. And isolation and being alone is why I'm sitting in front of this camera and talking to you now. I know I was supposed to be doing it regularly, and that is one of my toxic traits. I am bad at follow through and doing things for myself. And I feel that's a whole issue in itself. That's a whole other topic. And maybe that'll be a New Year's resolution to see things through, to finish things. But yeah, I'm alone for the holidays. And I feel like being alone in general or during the holidays is something we've all had to become accustomed to in our adulthood, whether it's because we have family that we don't get along with or don't agree with us, or we're horrible people and we had to cut them off. And I know that's like hard. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's family, you have to forgive and forget. Like, you don't. Luckily for me, that is not why I am alone on the holidays, but I feel for anyone that is in that predicament and that I hope that they find their chosen family. But I am alone because of COVID and financial stability, but mostly COVID. COVID and financial stability all kind of go together, but I feel like the last 2 years, I haven't really been with family on a holiday. And I'm used to not being with family on Thanksgiving and things because I grew up in upstate New York and I moved to Los Angeles, and I just did it with my friends until my sister moved out there, and it became like a friend/family thing, and it felt more family oriented because my sister was there. And then last year Christmas, basically like nobody went home, and my sister and I were in Los Angeles for Christmas for the first time. We were not with family on Christmas, and that was like devastating to us because we're a holiday family, and we're pretty close. It's a small family, but it means a lot. So it was hard, but I was so invested of keeping like the Christmas magic alive last year because I was with my sister. I made sure we had everything to make our regular, like we have Eggs Benedict breakfast every Christmas morning, and I made sure we had all the materials for that, and Jada made like the breakfast, and I made sure we had our Christmas pajamas because our parents would always gift us pajamas on Christmas Eve. I feel like a lot of people's parents do that. And then I made sure that I made like the same dinners my parents always made, and we had the seafood, and we watched the holiday movies that we watch every year. I like decorated the apartment through and through. I just was really dedicated to keeping the magic and keeping it festive. And I think it's because I am the older sister and I just wanted her to feel joy, and it was also for me as well. But like, I mostly was like, I need to keep the magic alive for Jada. And I thought it was like really nice. It was nice. We weren't with our dad, but it was still nice. And then this year I took a job somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and it's not in Los Angeles, and it feels really crazy to not live in a big city anymore. I went from living in a small town to living in New York City to living to Los Angeles, now living somewhere way smaller. And I love my job, but I know that it is not my home base. And I don't know if I'll ever really have a home base. I feel like I'm going to be somebody that just kind of bops around every couple of years, but that's okay. But this is my first Thanksgiving, my first Christmas completely alone. I went balls to the wall on Thanksgiving, and I will definitely insert clips of me just going hard on Thanksgiving. I made the homemade stuffing that my mom always did. I made corn and potatoes and the gravy and the turkey and homemade apple pie. Like, I did the whole thing, and I made like a meal for like 6 for myself, which in the long run, it did save me money because then I got to just eat leftovers for a really long time. But I went really hard for that. And then all of a sudden, like, Christmas came, and I don't have a Christmas tree. I don't have any decorations up, and it doesn't feel like Christmas. I had no Christmas spirit, and I just was sad. For like a lack of a better term, I was just sad. And I guess that's okay. Like the only Christmas tradition that I stuck with today that we do with as a family is I watched White Christmas. And I cried. Like it made me sad because like we're just all separated. My dad's on the East Coast, Jada's in Los Angeles, I'm where I am. And we, like I said, we were very family oriented and holiday oriented. So it just feels very weird these last 2 years to it become what it's become. Last year, we couldn't be together because of COVID, like for realsies. And my dad was home, but he was with friends, and I had my sister. So like that was okay. But like this year, we all three of us were like completely separated and like alone. And that's like depressing. Like that's really depressing when you come from like a very tight-knit family and holidays were such a big deal. And now it just feels like, wah, wah, wah. And part of me feels like losing my mom had like a big part in playing. It played a big part in how the holidays have become so anticlimactic. Like it sounds so bad to say, but like I feel like she was the glue. She was the heart and the energy of the house. And this year financially, we just couldn't pull off being all together. And because we are all literally in these different extreme places, and like I get it, and like my goal is to be able to like pick back up where we left off and have that family vibe. But without our mom, it is very different. My mom and I used to get so heavy into Christmas that she would have an ugly Christmas sweater party, and Christmas Eve was like this little event with like seafood and these special cocktails, and we would all just sit by the fire, and it was just like really nice and wholesome and simple, and I miss that. Like, I love my sister and I love my dad and I love spending time with them, but I feel like we have this cloud of sadness that kind of hangs over us when we're all together in our house. It gets very like somebody is missing and somebody isn't here that should be here, and no one wants to talk about it, and like that's sad. I'm getting better about talking about it. But yeah, we're missing a very important part of our family unit, and our holiday cheer really derived from her because she was queen of everything. She really was. And especially now that I'm like sitting here by myself in my apartment, which I'm so grateful for that I can live by myself in this time. I feel like everybody in their 20s has to live by themselves at one point to just really kind of like discover who they are, what they want, what they need, and that's nice. But like I miss the holidays, and I keep seeing this TikTok was like, oh, I love Christmas, I love yada yada yada, but I do miss feeling joy, I do miss feeling happy, and like that is true. Like I went from being Christmas girl through and through to like, okay, I have this Christmas pillow and I have some Christmas decorations up, but like there was no Christmas happening in my apartment besides that and watching White Christmas. And I was like, I'm done. I'm sad. It's over. And like, I don't know. Obviously, everything loses its magic as you get older. But I feel like so much now, and I can't speak for other people. I can only speak for myself. But it just feels like the magic is kind of being sucked out of us a little bit. We are in late stage capitalism. The world is fucking crumbling before us. Politics, Elon Musk, COVID, all these things. It's just like, it's hard to find pockets of peace and pockets of joy, especially in the climate that we happen to be in, and that we are having to learn how to be adults in. And it's rough. Like, it's all just very rough. And I think we should all just like take a second and like marinate and like what we're achieving, because we are doing something hard. We are becoming adults in a hard time. And if you are home with your family, like I am jealous. I am happy for you. And I really hope you take that time and you cherish it, because you never know the circumstances and what's going to happen. I never thought I would see a day that I didn't spend Christmas with my mom and my dad and my sister until they were like, I don't know, like I imagined that I would be having Christmas with them until I was like 50 and they were old and like, you know, just how people normally imagine spending Christmas. And Then my mom died at 57, and now it's just my dad and my sister, and we're all separated. And it's so weird when you take an element away, a person away, and then you throw a pandemic on top of it, how like your life can just like whoop, flip and switch. And it's weird. It doesn't feel necessarily like I'm living my life, that I'm living in this alternate universe that isn't relatively my own at all. And that's so weird. And people think I'm crazy when I say that. But I'm like, I just never imagined being alone, living where I'm living on Christmas. I just didn't. It's weird. It's sad. And I feel like I've said it's sad like 37 times, but it is. But Merry Christmas, and hopefully next year, me and whoever else is alone can be with a chosen family or their real family, I guess, for biological family if you want, you know, just to like not be alone. And that like, it's okay to feel sad if you are, and it's okay to feel happy if you're away from your family. Everyone is entitled to their own emotions, and yeah, I just hope this next year brings a little bit more light and love for everyone. I really do. So I rambled on a lot. I don't think any of that made sense, but yeah, I just hope we all find happiness in the upcoming months and in our future. So